Hey guys, it's Poor Performance Coach and I'm Carmel here. In today's video, I've got a very special episode where I'm interviewing my friend Andy Hinrichsen, who just took down a three-way chop in the Aussie Millions main event for 1.1 million Aussie dollars, which is about 800k US dollars. Now we're going to go into his mindset leading into the final table, what it feels like to have such a monumentally big win. We're going to talk about some of the big pots he played and how he was able to keep his calm and composure throughout those. And then we're going to dig into some of the characteristics and traits he thinks are super important for poker players, as well as some tips for aspiring poker players on the come up. So it's going to be an action-packed interview. Hope you guys enjoy it, and let's dive in. All right, guys, I'm joined today with Andy Hinrichsen, who's just chopped the Aussie Millions main event for over 1.1 million Aussie dollars, which is cool as hell. So Andy, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, so I think the first starting point is, what does it feel to chop a main event of the Aussie Millions for over $1 million Aussie dollars? How does that feel? What's it like to win such a big tourney?
Yeah, like it's just it's incredible, somewhat unbelievable still, and just completely surreal. I think like the whole week was just amazing, just how smoothly it went. And, like I think as like a tournament player, you sort of you learn to not expect too much from a given tournament and not be too like over invested emotionally. So it's kind of always in the back of your mind that I could just bust out in the next 5 minutes or whatever, or I could just change quickly. So for that to never really happen, it's on such a big stage, is just amazing.
Yeah. So what was your biggest cash prior to that one?
300k US.
Okay, cool. So you've already had a big score prior to that, yeah. Yeah, so let's talk about your background first. Obviously, we're going to dig into what it's like to win that much money in the Aussie main event, but we're also going to go into some of the hands you played, your mindset going into it. But first off, give us an overview of your poker background, how long you've been playing, what games are your predominant games, stuff like that.
Yeah, okay. So I started like at the end of high school in 2006, and then first year of university the following year, sort of just the usual way, like playing home games with friends, some pub poker leagues, a little bit of online, occasionally at the casino. Just had absolutely no idea what I was doing for like 6 months. But then I guess just kept sort of studying the game and was just interested by it. And then I think maybe 2008 is when I started making money, where I was like, hey, this is pretty cool. I don't need to work a job anymore. And then just haven't been back to university ever since.
Yeah. So what games have you been playing? What's your general?
Oh, right, yeah. So I started playing cash games, and I did that for a few years. And then probably 2011 transitioned to mostly online tournaments and some live tournaments as well. And then just still playing the occasional cash games online. And then just the last few years, mostly just sort of live tournaments. And like my volume's definitely cut back in the last few years too. So, but generally just mostly live tournaments.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. So what other live tournaments are you going to be playing this year? Like playing the main event in?
Yeah, that's the only one that I'd really lock in, would just be the World Series main. And a few of like the better side events there. But I don't plan on like just all of a sudden starting to fire like 25Ks or anything like that. I'll definitely continue to just play within myself and not push it.
Yeah. No, you're in a good position now. You don't need to go chasing the big 25k buy-ins. You've got your big payday, so be sensible. Yeah. I'm sure you'll probably want to play a bit more now that you've got like the winning bug, and you want to probably put your expert skills to the test a bit more often than maybe you plan to do.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I've never been a huge like volume guy, so I just find if I overdo something, then it's just not as exciting to me, and I don't like being drained by playing too much poker. So because then I just don't enjoy the game, and if I'm not enjoying it, then I'm not going to play my best. So just sort of minimizing the finding that right level of volume is pretty important for my game for sure.
Yeah. So how have the last few years went prior to this big win? How are you doing in terms of, you're playing mainly live, you said. How have things been going prior to?
Not too bad. Like just still winning some money, but like for example, in Vegas, I was mostly playing sit and goes the last couple of years. So it sort of removes a lot of the variance of playing live tournaments. So yeah, I was pretty happy with how I was going, but just wasn't putting in huge amounts of volume or anything like that.
Yeah. That's good. So yeah, basically you've been doing poker forever in a day, and then yeah, you haven't been playing so much lately, but still ticking along nicely. Mainly playing live, and obviously Aussie Millions come round, which you play every year. You played like 10 years in a row, something like that, didn't you? Since 2009. Or...
Yeah, I think I would have. The first year would have been like 2009 or something, maybe 10.
Yeah.
I've played every year since.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, and it's your hometown as well at Melbourne, so like that's
It is home casino.
How crazy is
I
that?
remember battling at some 2-3 games when I started.
Really?
I remember seriously, like I
That's
still
insane.
remember one year going in there, and it was while Aussie Millions was on, and I was just like playing 2-3 while I was kind of checking out these guys, these big dogs playing the 10K over there, being like, one day I'll get there.
That's crazy. Wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know you actually used to grind low stakes in that same casino.
Yeah.
That's even more impressive. Full circle to win the biggest tournament.
Right.
Yeah. Wow, that must feel so surreal because you probably spent a lot of time in that casino when you're
Yeah.
Yeah.
To think that like I like actually would have used to have like dreams or just like would at least daydreaming about that moment, and then for it to actually happen is just incredible, really.
Yeah, wow, it's so sick. That's so sick. All right, let's go into your mindset going into the final table. So I think you were second in chips going into the final table. What was your thoughts? Yeah, kind of the night before, in the morning of the final table. What were you thinking going into it?
Yeah. So I guess I just wanted to not just actually kind of appreciate the moment, just be happy to be there, like not put too much pressure on myself. Recognize that no matter what happened, it was already a great result. And just, that just kind of play the hands as they come and not try and get too ahead of yourself. Like the Saturday was actually quite tough because there was a break between, we finished on Friday night and then we had a break on the Saturday before the FT. So that was actually pretty bad just because I just spent the entire day not really being able to unwind, just running through like all the possible scenarios of how it could unfold. But then come Sunday, I woke up feeling fresh, pretty relaxed, and was just like excited that that wait period was over.
Yeah. And how are you feeling about your game going into the final table?
I'm probably not the sharpest that I've ever been. Like I haven't, as I said, I haven't been playing a ton, haven't been studying that much. But so my mindset was I wasn't going to learn anything on Saturday that was going to like make me a better player by Sunday, except for a few very small like specific reads or whatever. So I didn't want to spend Saturday like overthinking it or trying to strategize and put me in a place where like I could, play outside of myself. Just wanted to just play within myself and that sort of moment. Yeah.
Yeah. He's trying to keep level headed, try and take the moment in, try and just
right.
down. Yeah. Such a big moment as well. And the thing with those tourneys is they're so top heavy. Like Aussie dollars is like 1.8 for the win, 1.2 for second, 600 for third. It's like even third, like the jumps are insane. So so much like riding on you. Like the final table is amazing, like result.
Yeah.
Top three and the chop in the top three is just like a life changing difference between coming fifth, for example.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why it's just I'm so like grateful to be a part of that because, so much of that was just down to like the distribution on the day of cards in my favor in certain spots, and winning a couple of really crucial all-ins. And it's like it could have just been anyone in that situation.
Yeah, you need those runs and you need to win a few of those 50-50 races and the tourneys for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you know many of the guys on the final table? Obviously, Brittany, you would have knew of any of the guys.
Yeah, so I was good friends with Matt.
Yeah.
I'd played a lot. I played a reasonable amount with Hamish in the last sort of couple of weeks. Played a lot with Bryn in the last the few days leading up to it. But I think the other guys hadn't played too much with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Fair enough. All right, so there's a 1K hand I want to run through now. So basically, final table, you came in, I think, about 4 million chips, second overall in
5.5, thanks.
Okay, sorry, I forget. Okay, then you're running back to 15 million. For some context, the other two guys had about 5 million each. So you had about 150 bigs and they had about 50 bigs. Things were like looking so good at that moment. Then this hand from hell goes down. Incredible. So I'm gonna play this hand now, so we'll talk about it after. I think he played really well, like one of those 6-6 spots. But and this
appreciate that. I've decided to not like try and analyze it too much.
It's funny, like I'm literally gonna play one hand during this interview, and it's gonna be a brutal one for you. Let me share this.
Yeah.
All right, so for context, I've missed the pre. So Bryn raised pre-flop from the button. Both, Mark and Andy defended their blinds, and we run into the flop.
2 hearts, might as well make it. It takes 2 souls.
Nope. I almost never believe it.
And an open ender for Hinrichsen. Check, check, check. Oh, the quads. That's the face of a man who's made quads. And he's betting, actually. Slightly surprised. What do you think about that, Ricky? 6-6 quads bet.
I always say, when you have a good hand, you can't go wrong putting more chips in the middle.
I like it. When flop goes check, 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 turn can happen. Yeah, I love this bet with quads.
And Hinrichsen with his straight draw is somewhat likely to peel here.
Yeah, and queen high can be the best hand here sometimes as well. Your opponent can have some weaker gutters.
Oh, that's
Think of your mic. You have quads and you're getting raised.
Oh, this is the dream situation. 4 of a kind, you bet and you're getting raised.
And this is another reason why you should put chips in the middle when you have a good hand, because your opponent can put more chips in the middle for you.
Whoa.
Just call.
Oh, God. Oh, wow.
I'm thinking the offsuit king would be disastrous.
Oh, this is disastrous.
Already 2.875 million chips in the middle. Mike Delvecchio 3.4 million behind.
Hinrichsen is going to either jam or bet heaps.
It's going in. All of it. Everyone. Every chip.
Delvecchio is going to have almost 10 million chips after this pot.
Stop there. That's enough for that. But yeah, obviously all the chips go in. There's like 3 million behind, and there's 2.8 in the pot. Brutal hand. So that was like everything was going in your favor. I think he knocked out two of the top 5 last guys. He knocked a few of them out, and you're huge. Things were going well. You're on your A game. You're pulling off good bluffs. It was really tough for the players to kind of think of a way to pretty much break you down at that point. And that hand happens. So what are your thoughts during that hand? I did like the check raise turn based on the fact he didn't have much 6s in his range. And then obviously, and also,
so I guess like his other sort of full houses as jacks and 9s are just going to get in pre as well. So
the combos in his range are so low.
And I thought that he'd be the type of player that could lead like some flush draws or some jack hex. Couldn't really, handle like a raise there. Puts him in such a tough spot, and also just the pressure of those pay jumps that you mentioned before.
Exactly. So if you think about that in terms of the ICM, you've got it's 1.8 million up top, 1.2 for second, 600 for third. It's like massive for him to risk his stack there with something light.
Exactly.
Yeah, huge spot. So what was your thoughts? Like, obviously the king hits the river, you think you're good. There's just no way forward than ever to that small raise in the river. What's your thoughts after that hand? Like, how do you keep your composure after that?
Well, I think some people could argue there's a fold there, but it'd be pretty insane.
There's maybe like 8 million of the, there's something like 6 million of the pot, and he raised for another 1.4 million.
Yeah, some people, you could make an argument that in that spot, like no one's ever going to have a bluff in range or a hand that's worse for value. I was thinking that through, and I was like, basically like the only value hand potentially that could raise it A6 that you'd actually beat, but even then it's like it's probably not going to raise. And so it was like when you do think it through, but like the pot odds were like incredibly right. So it's one of those folds that would be like an insane fold at the time, but like 9 times out of 10 you're gonna have to just call off in that spot. But so how did you feel like that? So that made the stacks go to 10 million, 10 million, 5 million, so much more even. How did your mindset get affected by that? Look, obviously I'd be lying said that didn't affect me at the time, but it's sort of, you've just got to accept those moments. And I was like, I mentioned before, but just to be so grateful to be in that situation in the first place is a good way to look at it. Like, and then, so I was able to just tell myself like, hey, look at this incredible 10 million chip stack I've got in front of me right now. Like just pretend like the hand never happened.
Yeah,
And, that's not the time for you to sort of analyze
yeah, definitely.
whether you played it bad or whatnot. So just focus on like the next hand and just almost pretend it didn't happen.
Yeah, that's so interesting because basically in that scenario you've got two options. You can go, oh, I had 15 and now I'm down to 10, or you can be like, I've still got 10 million. Like I'm still like joint chip lead here. Like this is like,
right.
So there's so much. Yeah, it's obviously hard to do that under pressure when there's so much money on the line. At any point where you're thinking about, probably just at that moment was the first time you started thinking about the money jumps in terms of like the third to second. Were you thinking about that at all?
Yeah, for sure. It just like has to play a part in your sort of strategy and mindset. Yeah, so I guess as the chipper, it wasn't really close to being an issue for me. Besides, obviously being able to put pressure on the other two guys. But then once as the stacks become a lot closer, it's just more important to, I guess, not lose chips or lose your stack when you just win 600k if the other two guys decide to clash. So just trying to be able to like navigate your way through that. It's pretty important at that point.
Yeah, which was pretty much, I think, for the last at least hour or so, you guys were pretty even stacks. There was a lot of like people not trying to take too much risks, still like a few risks getting taken, but everyone could feel that like there's money to play for. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. So how do you stay calm under pressure in general in terms of, see you guys get breaks every now and again? How do you like unwind, like take the pressure off yourself? Because obviously it's a high pressure scenario. How do you feel like you are able to stay calm in those moments?
I think you just need to think about the money as not like money, but more of sort of a tool in this game that you use. Like, and that's sort of how I've always approached money. It's always just been like, whether it's cash games, it's just like a % of the pot, or, and because if you get into that sort of mindset of just worrying too much about the money, it's going to, impact just good decision making. So as much as you can, you just need to just see it as a tool, like to, I guess, accomplish what you're trying to do, but not worry about it too much at the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely. Like so hard to do that, especially like when there's literally like millions on the line and the jumps are so extreme. But yeah, amazing if you can do that, to just zoom out from the kind of the monetary values. Money at the end of the day is just a tool that you're going to use, and just try and make those best decisions consistently. Do you feel like you did that well as a whole?
Yeah, I was overall relatively happy with how I went on sort of that final day.
Yeah. So to draw the conclusion, like just not long after that hand, maybe a few hours after that hand, the stacks were quite even. I think it was about 8 million, 9 million each. And then a deal was done, a three-way chop to kind of chop the money up, where you got 1.1 million, the other guys got 1.2 based on ICM. And then there was kind of the trophy was given to Bryn as a part of the deal, just because, just that's quite unorthodox, but the way it went down. So what was it like to play with Bryn on the final table? He seemed like a pretty challenging opponent, especially when it was three-way.
Yeah, absolutely. Like he's just somebody that's not really going to make too many mistakes. He's going to make some pretty good reads against you. So it just makes your life a lot tougher because of that. I don't really know what else to say. Like he's just going to make life tough, and so it's just going to force you to, I guess, not make mistakes. Otherwise, he's just going to really pounce on them.
Yeah. When you see the whole cards, you can see exactly like the playing styling. He was going for thin value everywhere. Really interesting strategy.
Really interested in some of that. Yeah.
He did a good one on you. Well, in hindsight, it was actually bad because the ace came on the river and you guys both hit it. And out he had ace 8 and you had ace 7, and he raised like just the single pair ace for thin value, and you had literally the top of your range in that spot in terms of ace 7 that could call a bluff catcher, and you folded it, which was really good. But yeah, just interesting, that kind of thin value approach he was going for everywhere.
Yeah.
And your guys, it was tough for you guys because he could be going thin, he could have the nuts. He's kind of merging ranges everywhere, which made it difficult for you guys to pick where you're at. But yeah, you played really well against some of those spots.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, well, congratulations on the Sunday Mill win. Now let's Sunday Mill, Aussie Mill. Why Sunday Mill? It's not Sunday Mill. That's so like let's
That's
talk.
prestigious, that, isn't it?
I know it's just built.
Slightly.
Yeah, it's like it's obviously Sunday Mill. Yeah. So what were some of the biggest challenges you faced as a poker player up to this point? So like yeah, in your journey through to this moment, what would you say was maybe the biggest challenge you've had so far?
I think just dealing with like the sort of self-doubt that comes through downswings and not winning for a while and making questionable decisions in like big moments that sort of you think about for a little too long. So where was I going with that?
Yeah, so
I
self-doubt.
trying to go there for a second.
Yeah, I think self-doubt is huge. So yeah, if you want to, any situations in particular, any runs you had, any years you can remember you had a massive bad run or self-doubt kind of peaked for you?
It was a really bad one a few years ago where I had a combination of like a downswing of my own and then was just involved in a really messy backing situation that, without going into too many details, didn't end very well. So that put me in a bit of a rough spot for a while, where just like the idea that I'd sort of let this happen was pretty hard to, I guess, accept.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, well, even me playing like heads up sit and goes, I don't really sometimes realize how much variance you guys have as MTT.
Right. And it's so hard to really quantify, like, as well, whether you're playing well and running bad or whether you're just making mistakes or whether the game's unbeatable with the rake. And there's just so many things that are just so hard to really know the answer to.
So yeah, it goes back to what you said before, having that perspective where it's just like just play your game and just like zoom out from the monetary value like all the time instead of thinking about how much you can win, how much you should be cashing for, just like playing your A game and focusing on strategy rather than results. It's just like so important for MTT players. But that said, like when you go on month streaks, 2 months, 3 months, which must be quite common for you guys of losing money, it must be pretty brutal to overcome that self-doubt that starts to build and build with every time you don't cash. Or yeah, it must be difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I've always tried to not play too aggressively with, like, you know, shot taking or buying in. I've always been somewhat conservative in that area, like not trying to fire too hard and then just potentially lose like 100K in a month or something.
Yeah. Definitely, that's going to end in tears over the long run. So, what are some of the factors you think that have allowed you to have success in poker? So, I'm thinking about like traits you have, things you've done well, things that you've learned along the way that have allowed you to be a successful poker player.
Yeah, I think it starts with like I'm just incredibly competitive at like anything I do. So
Yes.
whenever I start something, like I want to sort of play to my full potential and do as good as I can at it. So then when you involve that with like games and just wanting to make the best plays, it kind of goes hand in hand with poker. And you know, when you're losing, it's like, well, shit, I don't want to be sitting here losing. Like, how can I find a way to win? And then you just use all the resources around you. I'm pretty analytical as well, so I'll just try and think about things logically and just break them down. Probably a lack of an ego when it comes to poker. Like, as I sort of said before, I don't feel the need to start, you know, firing these big tournaments that are pretty like low edge, high variance spots. That's just going to, you know, lead to like big downswings or like high variance. I'm pretty happy to avoid that, which I think is important.
Yeah. So that's good. That's 3 real big things, which is like your analytical, you're competitive, and then lack of ego, like 3 massive things that are needed for a poker player. Yeah, Andy's super competitive, whether it's bowling, whether it's volleyball, sprints, like Andy's surprisingly undefeated in a lot of like activities, man. Although you're bowling, you're hit and miss with that your bowling style.
Yeah, I blame those shoddy lanes, man.
We played.
I think they're on a slope on those rice fields.
Yeah. We played bowling in Bali and Canggu and on the rice fields, and the lanes don't always play true. And Andy's got a very high variance bowling style. When he's on form, he's pretty hot, but yeah, it's hit and miss. All right, all right. So there's 3 great things. I think that's good for people to know that those traits I think are super common. I think competitive nature is needed in poker. I think the ego is something we all battle with, ups and downs, and the less of it you can have, the better in poker in particular. That analytical mind is just needed. That curious brain of wanting to find solutions, wanting to play the hand better. Even when you win the hand, you still want to know, is that the right play? Did I do something? Could I have done something better? And I think that's huge. So that's really good. All right, so what do you think are some misconceptions about being a poker pro? I can think of a lot myself when the glamour, especially right now. So for example, we're talking, you just won like $1 million playing a tournament. It's really easy for everyone to go, oh my God, like poker's the most amazing thing in the world. Like there's obviously a lot of misconceptions about being a poker pro. So have you got anything that comes to mind?
Well, I think it can go both ways. Like a lot of people just assume that a poker player is some degenerate that's like wandering around trying to like cheat people somehow or something. And then you've got the other side where like you'll see, for example, it's very common in tournament poker where you look at somebody's earnings and then like try and draw like a direct correlation between that and how much they're worth or how much money they have, which is usually completely off. Just when you add up like actual buy-ins, expenditure, and things like that.
Yeah, on the flip side, there's the glamorous side of poker where people think it's like Damazirian lifestyle and everything's just like you win.
James Bond-esque.
You know, all these glamorous casinos and he's martinis on the side, he's winning all this money, playing for like hundreds of thousands, always winning, and it's like it's probably from the outside looking in, like poker, it's like quite there's not really that much. It's never as extreme as it looks. It's always just like it's pretty much like a steady income when you're playing for a long time. Obviously ups and downs, and when you zoom out bigger picture, it's more like just a career choice, which isn't as like up or down as people think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. People always like, there's this, I feel like there's kind of on that, this perception that you're either like always winning or you're always losing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The question I used to get asked all the time when people go, oh, you're a poker player. I was like, do you win? It's like, like if not, I'm just a gambler. I'm just like a teacher.
Yeah. I used to love that question.
Yeah. Do you earn enough to live off? It's like, yeah, that's kind of the minimum amount I need to earn.
Well, they'd be like, but what do you do for money?
Yeah, exactly.
What?
They just answered that, like, this is what I do. Yeah, those conversations, like hundreds of those over the years. So funny. All right, so would you say this has changed your life, or how do you think this big win is going to change your life going forward, or has it already? Anything that's going to be different from this moment since you've won compared to, like, say, if you didn't have a big score?
Yeah. I think it'll just give me this personal freedom to sort of, I guess, pursue whatever I want to now. Like because I've definitely, as I mentioned, felt that I've like looking to like get out of poker in one way or another, or not rely on it as like my source of income for much longer. So this just gives me the freedom to just jump into whatever I want and not have to worry about like where I'll be financially in sort of 5 to 10 years. I can sort of stress-free, just like go whatever path.
Yeah. It's good at the moment. Is there anything that interests you or any avenues that?
No, I'm still looking for inspiration if you have any, actually.
Yeah. After the call, we'll go down that route. But I think it's interesting poker. Like obviously, when we get into it, we all do it for the money to some degree, the competitive nature. We enjoy it, but there's an element of having to make X amount of money to feel like kind of comfortable and secure. Then you get to a certain threshold, and you can start asking like different questions. Like, do I want to continue playing poker? Some people continue down that path for another 5 years, eat money or no money. And then people like you, people like myself, once we get money, we're like, oh, that was the main tick point. Then what do I want to do next? And
I've always sort of had issues with like drive and motivation. Like once I was pretty lucky earlier on in my career. So to have that, like I just always struggle for motivation to continue playing.
Has been the main motive to make X amount of money been the main drive for you?
No, not like X amount of money. I'd be lying if I didn't say that it was one of the drives. But no, definitely just enjoyment and the competitive side of it as well. But I will say that like once you start playing sort of certain high stakes games, it's very hard to like give that up and grind like lower stakes if you feel that there's like, there's not as much money to be made for sort of who you are as a player anymore. I've definitely found it hard to like want to move down or play different games. And I thought that at one point I had this great hourly doing whatever it was.
Yeah, there must be lots in that. Obviously, there's the money, like when you're playing higher, there's more money to make, but also like when you're competitive and you're used to like playing against a better standard of opponents, and you got to drop down, so now it's less money, less competition. Like there's just a whole like ego that you need to put to one side and just like do it. Yeah, I think most poker players struggle with that. Yeah, I used to play like my buy-ins range from like $60 to 1,000, which is like nothing compared to your buy-ins sort of the way they scale. But at times, like I found myself lowly motivated by like the lower buy-ins. You know, I had to do like a little bit of mental work on myself to make myself just treat every game as if it's like just it's a strategy game. You're trying to play the best strategy you can possible. With the buy-in's almost irrelevant.
No, I definitely had like similar issues for sure.
Yeah, I think it's natural to some degree, and some people go either way. So when you like say a 10K like you were playing, some people can play their best in that scenario, and other people can ease up. So it's like a high pressure scenario can bring out the best, or it can really like freeze you. So it's interesting. It seems like because you're competitive, it's probably going to bring out the best in you the higher you play.
Yeah, I think so. Like, yeah, I'd definitely say there are times where I'll just not I guess my heart won't be in it, like in certain spots. But then like, you know, I can feel when I'm like really switched on and just really there to like really driven to compete.
Yeah. So what does the rest of the year look like for you? As you said, you're going to play the World Series main. Is that pretty much the only plans you've got at the moment in terms of tourney structure and life sort of plans?
Yeah, so I think we'll do like Vegas for 6 weeks in the middle of the year. So that's all I have planned. I'd love to do. We've generally always done some traveling in the States, like around the World Series. So I'll do that again, either side of it. But probably just base myself in Melbourne until then. Just spend some time with the family and friends, and just like try and get healthy. I think and get in shape.
Yeah, now you've got I think now is a good time to like reflect, get yourself fit and healthy. Freedom, like you were saying, it's really difficult to know. Like once you've been a poker player for a certain amount of time, like even when you want to get out of poker and do other things, it's hard to think of other avenues. Like it's really hard. It just takes time and like pursuing your own interest. And once you've got that financial burden taken off yourself, now is a good time for the next few months for you to start thinking down other avenues, get yourself in great shape, fit, healthy, loving life, get that good balance, and then obviously you've still got the poker tournaments you're playing as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so finally, what are 3 tips you would give to aspiring poker players? So players who are not like people starting out who got no clue, but players who are making money, they're on the hustle, they're playing say low stakes, trying to make the professional run work, kind of struggling. What do you say with 3 tips for someone you could give?
So one I would say is like when you're starting out, you don't have the bankroll, don't rely on it as your only source of income would probably be a big one. Like you want to sort of make a smooth transition from like another job or something where it's like, even if the poker goes bad, you're still making money from this other job. And then you can sort of, I guess, like slowly transition over to poker that way to just avoid going broke. Besides that, so in terms of like, so low stakes guys that are trying to move up, you mean? Or?
Yeah, guys who are like kind of, they're trying to figure stuff out. Like poker's quite a complicated pocket to kind of navigate. There's a lot of like information out there, and it's very difficult for players to go, what should I be doing like to try and make it?
Right. Yeah. I guess just find that balance of like studying like theory and playing as well. Start, I don't know, it sounds simple, but like start with pre-flop theory. Like make sure you get the pre-flop fundamentals down before, like if you have the pre-flop stuff down, it's going to avoid you making these like, you know, big mistakes later on in the hand. So like mistakes are compounded like that.
Yeah. So this is like the frequency of hands. Pre-flop, the frequency is higher, so focus there first, then go to flop, then turn, then river. And no matter how in poker, the river dynamics are never going to be solved because like complexity increases on each street as well. So yeah, start simple, like literally learn the stuff that's needed to be learned. Pre-flop, not making mistakes, like you said, compound.
Be pretty open-minded. Be quite like self-critical of yourself, and just, you know, really question like what you're doing. Like if you're losing, don't just assume that you're like running bad or like somebody else is playing bad. Just always look at like what you can control and what you're doing.
Yeah, that's the analytical brain as well, like being a bit analytical, thinking about how you can play spots better. What do you think the role is of like being around other poker players? So like, I know you've been around poker players a lot. Like, how do you feel like that helps those conversations?
So I like there are like times where it's really good. Like I've definitely learned a lot from being around some like very good poker players a lot of the time, you know, better poker players than me. And I'm pretty good at like absorbing information like that. But at the same time, sometimes I find that it can put you in a place where you sort of start to play a game that's not suited towards you. And then if that's going to lead, like if you start just copying somebody play and see that they, like if you watch Fedor play and you say, oh, well, Fedor defends like queen 2 off, so I'm going to start doing it. Like that's because he plays so well on every flop, turn and river, but like you're just maybe opening yourself up to make bigger mistakes than you were making before. So, you know, look up to guys, get information and ideas from them, but also still like play within yourself.
Yeah, I think that's huge, actually. I think it's really important in the current climate, especially where everyone watches YouTube, watches Twitch streams, and like you've got to realize like the context of what you're absorbing. Like these are playing different games, like different dynamics that you can make different flop decisions based on how you can play turns and rivers. Like I saw Fedor Halls make some really strange turn players, but like his thought process was he was going to do something different on the river as a result of that. And I think it is like play your own game, and then the day like although you can learn from the people, you've got to like master your own game. You've got to get really good at like knowing the intricacies of your own game, where you can learn from people to plug that into your game. But yeah, I would live with like guys playing the same games as me, and I would learn some stuff from them, and then occasionally their playing style was just different to mine. And like when I try to mimic stuff, or they try to mimic stuff from mine. So for example, like just a very sort of broad way of looking at it, they were more aggressive than me, so they could like say float flops wider. And then I started copying this float flops wider strategy, and I was like, ended up in all these river spots, and I was like, oh, it was like they were spotting every bluff opportunity, and then I was trying to do these bluffs because I was end up with rags all the time on the river, and then I was just like running into hands, like, and they're like, that's a bad spot to bluff, and I was like, what? Well, you told me to float bluff, and it was just interesting. Like we were trying to figure out. Because sometimes you think it's easier just to copy people, and it's not. Like you've got to just work on your own game, and kind of it just helped being around players, like bouncing ideas, and they've been in a public environment so positive. I think, being around
and just having people that can like just tell you pretty quickly whether or not you did something bad or well, because that's that helps you like move on as well, as opposed to just dwelling on this hand, like thinking about it for days. Did I play this bad? Did I not? It's good having people being like, yep. You really messed this up. Here's why, and then you can be like, "Oh, okay, cool. Like now I know."
Yeah. I think in that respect, it's really good when you do that. Like basically, if you played a hand and you're not sure of it, rather than playing someone who like kind of plays the same level as you or very similar ability, maybe ask someone who's better than you, or at least someone you're going to respect their decision. Because I see this happen all the time, where players they'll ask someone's opinion on how they play the spot, and it's like. Oh, I don't believe that because of this. It's like, okay, we ask their opinion, and like basically it ends up because there's so much like subjection in each spot. Like there's no like right or wrong. It can end up like arguments about two viewpoints. So I always feel like when you're asking for someone for like advice, it should always be like a teacher-student role. So it's like, okay, I play the spot, I'm not really sure on it. I respect this guy's opinion in this spot. I'm gonna rather than get caught in arguments. I think it's a horrible way to try and learn when you just go back and forth with each other on how to play a spot.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. So pretty good stuff. Yeah, I really enjoyed that, Chad. Hopefully the guys who are listening got some good value. So yeah, amazing I can't believe it was actually the tourney you started out in. That's so sick. I mean, the tourney I started out the casino I started playing at would definitely not host a big event like that, but it's but yeah, amazing. Like such a sick run. Like you must be over the moon to like be in a situation now where life's just looking a bit different going forward. You've got some different things to focus on. And yeah, massive congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks again.
Alright. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. It's not often one of your friends wins over 1.1 million in one of the world's most prestigious poker tournaments, so I thought I'd bring him on and give some value for you guys. Now, if you want to create freedom for yourself for poker, you're going to love the free training series I put together. Just click on the link in the description to get access to it. It's a 3-part series which is going to teach you how to reach your full potential, the GTO approach to poker in order to become the complete player, and loads of other cool bonuses. So click on the link in the description, you get full access to that. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Plenty more content coming from me very soon.